Hello, good morning all. Okay, can you see the screen, Python Anaconda screen? Is it visible? Okay, yeah, we shall start with the lab program. Before starting the program, in the introductory classes itself, I told you to do any machine learning project, we need what is like one thing is very important. So, what is that? Before you start any machine learning project or any programs, what is the most basic thing that is required to carry out the task? Yeah, what is needed? See, question is for all of you. Okay, so what is required? Assume that you are starting lab program one, find a algorithm. So before we start that algorithm, what is needed? Okay, simply we cannot go on implementing the algorithm. Algorithm is very simple. Uh, we are going to implement finders algorithm. That's your first lab assignment. Before we start the lab program, first thing that is required is we need the data set. What data set we require? We require like for finders algorithm, we need this data set, this table. So what are there in this table? Okay, we have the four examples which we have already solved. That is water sport. Enjoy water sport. Is it yes or no? So we need this table. This table is input for our algorithm. If you give this table as input to our algorithm, what is the output you are going to get? See, for our program, you are not going to give any other input. Input is nothing but the data. Data which is in the form of table. Okay, examples, training data. So this is the training data which we are going to give as input to our program. So what output you are going to get at the end of the algorithm? What output you will get? Are you understanding? See, you are trying to implement an algorithm. Algorithm is nothing but a computer program, right? So any program will have inputs and outputs. Input is nothing but this data file. Okay, these examples. So once you provide the input and run the algorithm, what is the output you are going to get? When you solve finders algorithm manually, what is the output you got? What is the output you got? See what output you'll get ultimately once you solve the finders algorithm on any particular data set. We are going to get hypothesis. Hypothesis as the output. Okay. At the end of this algorithm, we are going to get the hypothesis as output. So this is the data set which has got attributes like sky, air, temperature, humidity, wind, water, forecast, and final column. Okay, final column says yes or no. Enjoy sport is true or false. And you must also remember one thing, Finder's algorithm only considers positive examples. So it will not consider any negative example. So one no case is there. Second example, this example is not considered in our algorithm. Only positive cases it will consider. So the second example is not considered in the algorithm. Is it clear? Only positive cases it will check and it will generate the hypothesis. Is it clear? So this is the data set and it is stored in the file format called as CSV, .csv. Okay, data.csv or one.csv. CSV means comma separated values. Okay, so this data is stored and provided to our algorithm in .csv format. Is it clear? In .csv format, we are going to store this data and we'll use this data in our algorithm to generate the hypothesis. Okay. So we shall go to the Anaconda itself. Okay. So once you open this software, you can see the previous program will be open. Okay. Last lab, whatever you have done, that will be open. You just close that file. Once you close that file, it will open a new file, untitled1.py. So this is the new program it has opened. Okay. So once you start typing anything, it will enable the save button. Just save the program. Okay. You can save it as findes.py or one.py or anything. Okay. Once you start typing the program or finish typing the program, you just save the file. See, these things are comments. Okay. These things are comment lines. Don't worry about it. So we have the data set and which has to be used in our program. So how we are going to uh, open that file and import that file and bring it to the program. See, the table is there. That table you must import and you must start using it in our program. So we need that file. So how we are going to import it? How we are going to open that file and use it for our purpose? And one more thing is once you open that file, you need to copy that table into some data structure that are present in Python. So in which data structure you can make use of? Are you going to use arrays to store the values or any other data structure which can be used to store that data inside our program? Are you going to use arrays to store that file or any other data structure which we can use here? Okay, see, we have list and arrays, as you know, data structures. So are you going to use these two things or any other data structure is there which we can make use of? In Python, we also have one more data structure. We call it as data frame. Okay, so whenever we import data from CSV file, we'll store it in a data structure called as data frame. Is it clear? So this data frame is not inbuilt data structure. It is present in a library which we have to import. So first line in your program is okay, import pandas. Pandas is a library in which that data frame data structure is available. So if you want to use data frame in your programs, first thing is you have to import pandas. Okay. Instead of using that name everywhere, what I will do is import pandas as PD. So if you declare it like this, wherever I want to use pandas, I will use the name PD. And you can see there is a warning signal here. it is saying that you have imported pandas, but it has not been used in the program. Okay, we have not as used pandas anywhere, so it is saying you have not used it. Is it clear? So I need data frame to store my data. For that reason, it is present in pandas. So I'm importing pandas library and we are giving it a name PD. Wherever you see PD in the program, that means that you are using pandas. So this will be the first line in your program. Next thing is I want to read the data and store it to a variable. I will call it as data. So PD dot. Okay. I want to read that file. Okay. With the help of pandas data frame. See, you can see here, it will start suggesting. Okay, PD dot. If you type PD dot, it will give you all the options that are available in pandas. Okay, PD dot read CSV and open close bracket. And if you see here, you can see it is asking for the path. Okay, lot of options are there to read the CSV file from the file to the uh, our program. So you have to give the path of that file name. What, and it should be in the single quotes. Okay, it must be in the single quote. I will give 12.cs. Okay, import pandas as PD, and I'm reading that data and storing it in a variable data, and this is a data frame. Okay, PD dot read underscore CSV file name. See, I have not given the path here. I have just given the file name directly. Can you do like this? Can you give the file name directly instead of path? See, that is one way. Another way is you have to give the entire path of the file name. So when you will do like this and when you are going to, if your program and data file, if they are present in the same directory, you can give it directly like this. Okay. If data file and your program, if they are present in the same directory, you can just give the file name directly. Okay, let's run and see whether it is. You can see here each and every time I run this line, you can see the output here. Pandas has been imported, data has been read. Okay, you can see here file name, data of type data frame. It has got 4 columns, 4 rows, and 7 columns. To see the content of the data, you can just give print data. If you run this line, okay, in the output window, you can see that data, whatever it has run, it has been displayed. Is it clear? This data has been displayed here. So I have read the data from the file. So now it is present in the variable name data. Okay, you can print it. It will display like this. As I said, here in my program, like data and program, they are in the same directory. So you can give the file name directly. There is one more way to give the file name. That is, you have to give the exact path. Okay, you have to give the exact path of the file name. You have to give the path like this. And you should be careful. It is not backward slash, it has to be forward slash. Okay, it has to be a forward slash. See, if file, data file, and CSV file and program, if they are in same directory, you can give like this. Or if you don't know where data is present and if you know the path, you have to give the entire path. That is from D drive, Entire path you have to try, and it has to be forward slash. And let's run and see whether it will work or not. Yeah, it is also working. Let's give it data 1. Okay, run this line. Print data 1. So if I execute it, you can see the output here. Same output you are going to get. Okay, path you can give in two ways. One is direct file name you can give, or you can give the entire path. Is it clear? Okay, you can give the complete path, but while giving the path, make sure it has to be forward slash. Path should be like this. Okay, path has to be like this. Okay, once you read the data, now data is present in the program. Okay, it is in the form of data frame, and we have given the name for that as data. So now data is present. I should start a hypothesis. So what I will do is, see, in Findas algorithm, we will start with the most uh, specific hypothesis, that is null hypothesis. So I will create an empty list. You can see here H. It is an empty list now. Okay, H is a hypothesis. H means some hypothesis. I will create a list. Okay, H is equal to list of means just an empty list I will create, and it is null. So that list is now null. Now I need number of rows and columns in the table. See, table is already present in our data. I want to know how many rows are there, how many columns are there, because how many attributes are there, I want to find out, and how many examples are there. To find out the rows of the data, we have a function called as shape. Data.shape of 0. Okay, rows is equal to data.shape of 0. I will execute this line, and you can see in this output window, once I type rows, you can see 4 rows are there. In this data, 4 rows are there. Similarly, I want to find out number of columns in the data. Okay, number of columns in the data. Same, similarly, shape of 1. Shape of 1 will give number of columns in the data. Okay, you can see there are 7 columns in the data. 4 rows, 7 columns. But final column, see, we just remember that this thing table, final column is yes or no. That is the output. So final column I don't want. So I will give columns -1. I just need 6 columns. 6 attributes are there, but there are 7 columns. Final column is result column. Latent is yes or no. So that column is not required. So we shall give -1. Data.shape of 1 -1. Is it clear? Now I should start scanning the examples one by one. There are 4 examples. So our for loop should run 4 times. Each time I will check one example. So how to write the for loop? For I in range of what? Range of rows. Rows means it will run 4 times. So each time what you are going to do? Okay, for I in range of rows means this for loop will run 4 times. So each time what I will do is I will check whether the example is positive example or negative example. Okay, so I will check whether the example is positive or negative example. If it is a positive example, our hypothesis is null right now. I have to change that null hypothesis to that a particular positive example. So how to check whether that last column is null or not? See data dot there is one function called as iLocation. iLocation means I want to check that particular column value. So which is that column value? Now, if I'm in the first row index is I. Okay, you are in the first loop of for loop, first iteration of for loop. I value is 0, and that last column value, that is nothing but 0 comma 6. So what you are going to check there, we are going to check whether S is there or not. If S is there, it's a positive example. Is it clear? See, this if loop, what it is doing is, in the first row, last column value, is it yes or no? If it is yes, it's a positive example. Then we will initialize our initial hypothesis to that value. Okay, to fetch that first value, data dot I location of 0 comma 6. That is the last column value. Okay, if that is true, okay, for loop here, if condition, inside if condition, see indentation, you need to be careful about the indentation. Now, if that condition is true, if that condition is true, then we'll add that example. Okay, we'll add that example into our hypothesis. Okay, for each and every value in that row, what we are going to do, we are going to add it to the present hypothesis. That value is present in J. Is it clear? If the last column value is yes, then we'll start one more for loop, and this for loop, it will run 6 times, and each time what it will do, that particular column values, it will go on adding to the hypothesis H. Initially that hypothesis is 0, a hypothesis is null. Now we'll add that first example to the hypothesis if it is positive. Okay, so once you find out the first hypothesis, next we'll break. Okay, we got the first hypothesis, so we'll break out of the for loop. Is it clear? So I will just run this entire things and I will show you what output you'll get after first iteration. See, I have executed this set of lines. This set of lines I have executed, and now I want to see what is the H status. Okay, you can see here in the output screen, you can see H earlier it was null. After scanning first example, I have initialized H to this new set of values. Okay, that is nothing but first example, because this first example is yes, positive case. So H will change to this new value. That example is nothing but sunny, warm, high, strong, warm, and same. So our hypothesis has changed from null to this first value at the end of this for loop. But we don't need this yes here. See, in our hypothesis, this result should not be there. How to remove that one from this hypothesis? To remove that, you have to give pop, h dot pop. That will remove that final element. Okay, now you can see h, it consists of only these attribute values. So this is our first hypothesis. After scanning first example, this is the hypothesis. Have you understood? So next, see, that is for first example. Next, we should scan remaining examples. Is it clear? So you have to start again a for loop for I in range. See, already first example is over. So we will not start with 0. We are going to start with 1. Okay, 1 comma number of rows. Okay, remaining 3 rows we have to scan. Next, each time you have to check one condition, and that condition is nothing but whether final column value is it yes or no. Okay, same thing. What you did in the previous step, same we are going to do here. You are going to check whether final column value is yes or no. If it is yes, okay. If it is yes, next for each row, what you must do is you have to check attribute values. Okay. Next, I have to check one if condition. If h of j not equal to data dot I location I comma j. H of j is equal to question. So what these lines will do, I will just execute and show you. Uh, See, once first example is over, we shall start with next example. Okay. So in second example, I'm going to check final column value. Is it yes or no? You know that second example is a negative case. So it's no. Is it clear? So this condition will not work. And we shall go to the next iteration for third example. So if this condition is true, we'll go to for loop. And here for j in range 0 to columns, okay, in this range, what we are going to do is for each attribute value, we'll compare that example attribute value to the present hypothesis. So this is our present hypothesis. So each attribute value will compare with this, okay, with these values. Okay.